Closer to the runaway train, Will decides to go outside and guide Frank through a combination of hand signs and messages through the walkie-talkie. When the trains finally come in contact with each other, Frank's locomotive accidentally blows the runaway's car seal, causing it to spray grain all over them. Frank pushes the locomotive again, this time managing to get the locking pins touch, but they still won't engage. Will decides to jump in the middle of both trains and push the pin with his own foot, solving the problem but also slipping and almost falling off. He manages to hold onto the railings and climb back up, but his foot is now hurt. When he returns to the cab, Frank gives him some tape to bandage it temporarily. They're about to reach the Stratton curve, so Frank concentrates on starting a game of tug-of-war using the tactic Werner told him earlier. They manage to slow down things a little bit, but the runaway train overpowers them with its speed and weight and is still dragging them with it. Will gets an idea then, they should try to engage the handbrakes on each car. Since his foot is hurt, Frank leaves him in charge of the dynamic brakes and throttle while he climbs on top of the roof and jumps from car to car, activating the handbrakes. The locomotive eventually loses its brakes to the traction motors being overworked, and the train starts gaining speed again. They decide to try the independent air brake to save them from the incoming curve, so Frank guides Will through the walkie-talkie and tells him when to hit the independent to achieve perfect maneuvers. Their combined effort is successful and the runaway manages to follow the curve with little damage caused to their surroundings. Now they're out of the dangerous curve, Frank goes back to jump from car to try to reach the runaway's cab, but the last gap is too wide for him to jump over. When they are starting to think there's no hope left, Ned shows up in his truck, making its way next to the train after causing two police cars to crash against each other. After checking with Connie that this is safe, Will jumps on the back of the truck and Ned proceeds to drive him to the front of the train, where after some effort, Will manages to jump aboard the runaway's cab and finally apply the brakes to make it stop. When he gets off the train, the paramedics immediately take care of his foot, and he gets to reunite with Darcy and their son again. Some hours later, they all get to assist a press conference. Frank gets to reunite with his daughters, and Connie